This program features current events in the sports realm, intended for both amusement and enlightenment. The views presented here may not align with those of their counterparts. Viewer discretion is advised, as authentic human language, including some potentially colorful expressions, is used if you're underage. Please obtain permission before proceeding. Cheers, Bandwagon Sports P. As don't sue me.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Bandwagon Sports. I'm your host, Kay Navarro. And this is a Bandwagon Monday show. And this is a big show. We got a lot of sports to cover. We got NFL action this weekend. We got playoffs. We already know what it looks like. We got the national championship game tonight. We got coaches getting changed. We got players probably leaving teams. We got a bunch of news. We got people getting eliminated from playoffs, people clinching playoff spots. We got it all. So, thank you, bandwagoners, for tuning in. But without further ado, we're going to hop right into it with a little Gardner Minshew action. Look at old Gardner Minshew.
The camera is, and how to stare daggers, or just look kind of crazy.
So Gardner doing his little Captain Jack Sparrow impersonation, entering the Houston Texans Indianapolis Colts game. This was a massive game. Tied records. Winner of this game won the division and made playoffs. But funny stuff from old Gardner. He's gonna send us on into the action. Right now we're gonna go over some of the results from this past weekend. So, Steelers end up getting the win in a rainy game. Very rainy, very nasty game. Lamar Jackson out, Zay Flowers out, Gus Edwards out, pretty much the whole Ravens team out. But Steelers get the win, and they clinch a playoff spot with the Jags loss. So, Steelers fans, their season looked absolutely awful. But hey, Mason Rudolph came in, the little Christmas miracle, and he came in. He was the savior of the Steelers. And Steelers in the season 10-7. There was talks that they might not even be above 500 this year, but Steelers get it done. They advanced to 10-7, and then we had the old Gardner Minshew versus C.J. Stroud battle. We had the battle of the rookie versus the battle of the stash. And the rookie got the upper hand. First play of the game, C.J. Stroud just launches it downfield for a Nico Collins touchdown. So C.J. Stroud ends the game with 264 yards, 2 touchdowns. Nico Collins, 9 receptions, 195 yards, and a touchdown. On the Indianapolis Colts, Jonathan Taylor had 30 carries for 188 yards and a touchdown. But Texans get the best of the Colts and advance and win. Let's see what division they're in. And win the AFC South. So Jacksonville led this division. I think Texans were number 2, Colts were number 3. Both of these teams were tied. It was ultimately up to what the Jags were going to be able to do. And Jags, might as well just go over right now, lose to the Titans. So Trevor Lawrence is back. He throws for 280 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. Derrick Henry has a monster last game for the Titans. 19 carries, 153 yards, and a touchdown. He will be a free agent this next year. So we'll see where Derrick Henry lands. But Jags lose the game, and they lose, I think, 5 out of their last 6 games. Yep, they lose 5 out of their last 6 games here, and they get eliminated from playoff contention. We had a funny thing. Let's see. We might as well just touch on it right now. Jags, on the 13th of December, put out a tweet that says, playoff tickets are now on sale, and Jags Jags end up not making playoffs. So, I guess they did not see old Trevor Lawrence getting hurt and them not being able to make playoffs. But I made a funny little meme about this. I made a few memes about this. Poor Jags. I'm sorry. So we can kind of watch some of these.
I'm doing my part. I didn't do fucking shit.
I'm doing my part.
I'm doing my part. I'm doing my part. I didn't do fucking shit.
All these teams doing their part in order to make playoffs, but Jags, all they had to do was win to clinch the division, and they lose and get eliminated. So, funny stuff there. But old Jags goofing up with old Trevor fumbles, old Trevor interceptions, whatever his name is. But Jaguars eliminated. Titans 6-11. Obviously, they were already eliminated from playoff contention before this week. But hopping into some other action, we had Browns taking on the Bengals. Browns with, what is it, Driscoll? Jake Driscoll, something like that. Coming in, playing for the Browns. Joe Flacco was sitting and resting. A lot of the players were. Because they have already secured their playoff spot, and they were secured at the spot they were at, so this game did not matter. But Bengals, they have Jake Browning in, and Jake Browning and the Bengals take down the Cleveland Browns. And let's see, do the Bengals? No, Bengals eliminated. It did not matter. So Bengals in the season 9-8, and they are eliminated from playoffs. And then we had Vikings taking on the Lions. Lions need to win this game in order to clinch that number 3 spot in the NFC. So, Lions, Eagles had the same record. Whoever won, Lions were above Eagles. Whoever won, if the other lost, they were going to get flippity-flopped. So, Lions take that number 3 spot in the NFC and take down the Vikings in a decently close one. But Nick Mullins ultimately throwing 2 costly interceptions at the end of the game. And, wow, Jay Jettas with 12 receptions, 192 yards, and a touchdown. But Jared Goff, Amon-Ra St. Brown with some momentum going into playoffs, putting up a little 30 bomb on the Vikings. Jaguars, Titans, Jaguars, y'all fucking suck. And then we got battle of the shittiest teams. We got Jets taking on the Patriots. Breece Hall has a 50-yard touchdown run. Breece Hall was pretty much the entire Jets team this year with Aaron Rodgers out. So it was cool to see him with 37 carries, 178 yards, and a touchdown. Breece Hall will be a special player this next year. I think he tweeted out that, hey, I'm going to be the best running back in the NFL this next year, which, hey, I believe. If all Aaron Rodgers stays healthy, they got Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall. These Jets, they're going to be a special team with an amazing defense. I mean, with the shitty team that they had this year, they still ended the season 7-10. That is not bad. You get Aaron Rodgers in there, and hey, they ended 11-6. So, Jets get the best of the toilet bowl right here. Falcons, Saints. Saints putting up 48 points on the Falcons. Absolutely destroying them. And I think... No. So, Saints, with this win, needed some help in order to make it to playoffs. And they do not get it done. And Saints and Falcons eliminated from playoffs. But Saints in the season hot with a winning record, 9-8. And win this game by 31 points. Jesus. Let's see. You had old Bijan Robinson, 7 receptions for 103 yards and a touchdown. So, Saints out of there. I think they needed Bucks to lose. I could be wrong. Yes, they needed Tampa Bay to lose, which, as we were about to go over, they did not. Bucks win a shaky one over the Panthers, but ultimately shut them out, give them a big old goose egg, and win the game 9-0. Old Baker Mayfield leads the Bucks to a playoff game. So good stuff from old Baker Mayfield. He got released from his team this last year. I think he was on the Rams, could be wrong. Or was it Panthers? I don't know. One of the two teams was released. We thought, hey, this man probably won't get a starting role. But hey, comes to the Bucks, gives them a winning record, wins their division, and is now in playoffs with a good chance, I think, to win their first round. So, Baker Mayfield, cool stuff there. Panthers, awful season, in the 2-15 with the worst record in the NFL. Wow, old Bryce Young seems to be a bust. Bears-Packers, we have the rivalry game to end the season. Could Bears take out the Packers from playoffs? They could not. Packers get it done at home, winning 17-9, taking down the Bears. We saw a cool moment between old Justin Fields. We'll touch on that here in a second. But Jordan Love throws for 316 yards and 2 touchdowns. Aaron Jones with 22 carries, 111 yards. And Jalen Reed with only 4 receptions on 112 yards. So Packers get the job done and take down the Bears and clinch a playoff spot. Awesome stuff there. Broncos take on the Raiders. You got Jared Stidham taking on Aiden O'Connell. This game does not matter. This was another toilet bowl game. But Aiden O'Connell inevitably gets the upper hand on the Broncos, and they beat them 27-14. Eagles, Giants. Hold on. Thought I had to sneeze. All right. Eagles need to win this game, and they need Cowboys to lose or tie in order to win the NFC East and secure the number 2 spot in the NFC. If the Cowboys win and the Eagles win, they needed the Lions to lose in order to get that number 3 spot in the NFC. Well, Lions win, as we saw, and Eagles not able to get it done against their division opponent, the New York Giants. New York Giants and Tyrod Taylor absolutely demolish the Eagles, putting up 24 points in the first half and shutting them out in the first half, 24-0. And Eagles looking very shaky. Eagles not having A.J. Brown in, them not having DeAndre Swift in, and not having Devontae Smith in. So I don't know what they were trying to do there, but pretty much their whole starting roster out other than Jalen Hurts. They end up benching Jalen Hurts in like the end of the second quarter or something like that. We saw Jalen Hurts actually with a broken middle finger, or maybe it was popped out of socket. We saw him, I guess, pop it back in, come right back in, so must have just popped out of socket. But Marcus Mariota comes into the game to relieve. Very first throw Marcus Mariota throws is an interception. So, funny stuff there. But Giants take down the Eagles. Eagles, second in the NFC East, and do not get the 3rd spot in the NFC. So, Eagles falling apart at the end of the season, looking like the Jags. I think, let's see. Wow. Losing 5 of their last 6 games, too. Just like the Jaguars. They have only won 1 game in December and January. So, Eagles, I don't know what is happening there, but they went from dominating the league, only losing 1 fluke game to the Jets, to now not able to win an easy game. So, Eagles, you need to figure the fluke out because you got playoffs this next week. But Eagles lose. Still make playoffs. I think they're in the number 4 or 5 spot. We'll touch on that here in a second. Then we had the Seattle Seahawks taking on the Arizona Cardinals. Arizona Cardinals, I thought, hey, probably had a good chance to win this game, but Seahawks on a last-minute drive come up with a touchdown and go for the 2-point conversion and win the game. This game did not matter. We did not need to go into overtime. So cool seeing them go for 2 and win this game. And hey, in the season above 500 and finish it 9-8. Cardinals didn't have old Kyler Murray the majority of the season, or James Conner. So they were working with a bunch of other players. Maybe this next year they will look a little better, but Cardinals looking trash as always. Let's see. Moving on, we got another toilet bowl game. We got Chiefs Chargers. This was just a field goal monster of a game. You have Cameron Dicker the kicker, hitting 4 field goals, scored all the points for the Chargers. So good stuff from old Dicker the kicker. Him thinking he got snubbed from the Pro Bowl. And then hitting his 4 kicks. So, Chargers ultimately lose to a game-winning drive to the Chiefs. And Chiefs put up a field goal, win the game. Harrison Butker drills a 41-yard field goal to give the Chiefs the win. It's good stuff, old Harrison. Getting that leg ready for playoffs. Oh. Man. We gotta get our music going. We gotta get some action in here. It's Monday. We're tired. It's raining outside here. Man, it is just a nasty day. But another toilet bowl matchup. We had Rams taking on the 49ers. Battle of the backups. We had Sam Darnold as QB for the 49ers and Carson Wentz as QB for the Rams. Both teams have already clinched playoffs. So, them putting in their backups, not wanting to risk their starting QBs. Carson Wentz with 17 carries, 56 yards, and a touchdown. Sam Darnold through the air with 189 yards and a touchdown. The Rams with a comeback victory in the second half. Taking down the 49ers on the road. So, Rams in the season, or not in the season, they go into playoffs 10-7, and Niners with the number 1 seed in the NFC, they go into playoffs 12-5. And then we got my old Dallas Cowboys. Let's go ahead and check out my content. We got old Dallas Cowboys winning the NFC East. Yeah, Cowboys win the NFC East. They beat the Commanders handedly. Gave them a nice old ass whooping to end their season. Win 38-10. Dak Prescott with 279 yards, 4 touchdowns on 1 interception. CD Lamb with another monster game, 13 receptions for 98 yards and 2 touchdowns. Tony Pollard getting into the end zone, 17 carries, 70 yards. But Cowboys on the road. Remember, they've been struggling on the road. So Cowboys get a win and clinch the NFC East and the number 2 spot in the NFC. This is massive for the boys. That means this first round of playoffs, they will be home. And their home record is undefeated. I think they are 8-0 at home. So, getting to play the old Green Bay Packers at home is monster. And they will get the next game at home. So, good stuff there. If 49ers lose, then they would have a home. Their path to the Super Bowl would all be at home until the Super Bowl. So, Cowboys needed that. They are the best team at home right now. that was a monster for them. So congratulations to the old Dallas Cowgirls clinching the division and, hey, setting themselves up for a potential Super Bowl. And as a Dallas Cowboys fan, I say, this is our year. This is it. This is it. We're getting it done this year. Cowboys win the Super Bowl. And then we had a monster of a game, a very entertaining game to send us off into playoffs. We had the Buffalo Bills taking on the Miami Dolphins at Miami. Shaky start to the game. 0 points scored in the first half. Buffalo ends up throwing a pick into the end zone. Dolphins get the ball back. Dolphins score first, strike first. Bills come back the next drive, score right back. And then Dolphins score before half, taking it into half, 14-7. And Josh Allen actually having a chance to get it into the end zone or even just put up a field goal going into the half. But ultimately throwing it short of the end zone and time winding down. So Buffalo Bills making a ton of mistakes in this game, as we see Josh Allen throwing 2 interceptions right here in the game, but still slinging it through the air for 359 yards, 2 touchdowns. He also had 15 carries on 67 yards. So going into the second half, again, 0 points scored in the first quarter of the second half. And then ending the game, we got Bills with a fluke touchdown. It was hilarious. Let's see if we can find it. Where is it? We have Bills. Mike McDaniel cannot believe it, but we have the Buffalo Bills and Josh Allen throwing it bouncing off Van Ginkel's head, it popping straight up into the air, and then 16 coming down with it. The ball is just miles up in the air, and hey, he goes, finds the ball, keeps his feet in bounds, drags it, and the Buffalo Bills get the job done and win the AFC East and clinch the number 2 seed in the division in the AFC. So that was a monster of a game for the Bills. The Bills with a shaky start to the year, with a shaky start to the season, and them coming up big towards the end of the year. So Dolphins, when facing teams above 500, they are 1 for 6 right here. So Dolphins, it looks like they are going to have a shaky playoff run. They are going to have to take down all above 500 teams. So we'll see. We'll see if they can take down at least one above 500 teams. But it looks like they will most likely be on the road taking on the Kansas City Chiefs. So good luck to old Dolphins, but an awful way to end the season. But let's see. Entering week 14, Bills were 6-6 and Dolphins were 9-3. 1 month later, Bills win the AFC East. So we got Bills ending the regular season 11-6. So them winning 5 games in a row. 5 games in a row to end their season. It looked like, hey, they were going to probably not even make playoffs this year. But Bills turn their season around. They go perfect. And actually probably should have beat the Eagles in this one in an overtime game. So it should have been a win of their last 7 games of the season. So shaky start to the season, but they turn it up and make playoffs. And then opposite for the old Miami Dolphins, I think 10-3 and end up only winning one more game out of their next 5 to end the season. So we got all Buffalo Bills taking on that number 2 seed. But now we're going to take a look at what the playoffs are going to look like. We have matchups already. We have all the teams eliminated, and we know exactly what playoffs will look like now. So for the AFC, we have Steelers taking on the hot Buffalo Bills. Let's see. I'm going to go ahead and pull up another visual of this so that we can see seeds. So we got Pittsburgh, number 7 Pittsburgh, the last seed in the AFC, taking on the number 2 Buffalo Bills. So this will be in Buffalo. Buffalo, hot team right now. Them looking like, hey, you don't want to face them at all. But Pittsburgh turning it up towards the end of their season. So maybe they could give them a run for their money. Buffalo Bills still making a lot of mistakes. But you don't want to be facing old Josh Allen and these Buffalo Bills in the playoffs. So, Bills play Pittsburgh. And then Miami, with that loss, instead of being the number 2 seed, they are now the number 6 seed and taking on the number 3 Kansas City Chiefs. So, Kansas City getting another home game. They have not played a road game in playoffs in Patrick Mahomes' career. So, even with a win right here, it looks like if Buffalo wins, Buffalo could be, or Kansas City could be playing a road game. But Miami, like we said, they have a losing record. They are 1-6 against above 500 teams. So they are going to struggle against these old Kansas City Chiefs. But Chiefs, they have had a very shaky year as well, only having Travis Kelce as a reliable target, all their receivers dropping balls. This could be a crazy one. We could have Kansas City Chiefs players trying to lose this game. We could have Tua throwing 1 million interceptions. This might be a shit show of a game right here. But our last matchup, we have number 4 Houston clinching the division, taking on the Cleveland Browns. Cleveland Browns looking like one of the scariest teams to play right now. You do not want to play this Joe Flacco Cleveland Browns defensive team because they are slinging it and their defense is almost unstoppable. So we will see them taking on the rookie CJ Stroud and the Houston Texans. Houston Texans will have the home game though. They are the higher seeds. They will be at home. Old Joe Flacco is going to have to travel on the road and take them down. But this should be a sick game. Rookie versus veteran. This will be a fun one. But depending on if we have any lower seed upsets, like Miami taking down Kansas City or Pittsburgh taking down Buffalo, Cleveland, if they win, would have to take on the old Baltimore Ravens. And hey, Baltimore Ravens look like the best team in the NFL right now. They're just running through everybody. But Cleveland Browns, that would be a scary team to have to go through. So, that is our AFC matchups. And then now, let's go over the old NFC. So, if San Francisco in the 1 spot, they get a bye first round. And then we have Tampa Bay taking on Philadelphia. This is a match made in heaven for Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield clinching the division, getting I think $1 million bonus just for winning the division. And having a winning record for old Tampa Bay, and them getting a home playoff game against Philadelphia Eagles. So, Eagles losing 5 of their last 6 games. they are now in that 5th spot, and they are having to travel on the road. We'll see if their starters are still out for this game, but Baker Mayfield has a good chance to advance in this one. I mean, I'd probably take an old Baker Mayfield in this one. I don't think Philadelphia can beat anyone at this point. But moving on, we got old Detroit Lions taking on the Los Angeles Rams. So we got old Jared Goff, his former team being the Rams. We'll touch on this in this next slide, and taking on Matthew Stafford and the Los Angeles Rams. So both these quarterbacks flip-flopped. They flip-flopped. Little flippity-floppity flip. So we'll get to see them take on their old teams against each other. Matthew Stafford was not able to do what Jared Goff was able to do. So this will be a fun matchup. This will be in Detroit. And Rams looking like a very, very hot team to end this season. I think they pretty much go undefeated. Actually, they won this last game even with Carson Wentz. So they are looking very hot. They're kind of like a Cleveland Browns. They're very explosive through the air. You got Puka, you got Cooper Kupp, you got Kyron Williams. You just got a bunch of monsters on that offensive side, and then you got Matthew Stafford slinging it to him. So this will be a fun matchup right here, and there will be a lot of drama. And then our last game, we have my old Dallas Cowboys taking on the Green Bay Packers. So Packers have been a playoff killer for the Dallas Cowboys in the past. When they had old Aaron Rodgers would just be slinging dimes, throwing game winners, throwing Hail Marys, doing everything. We had the controversial Dez caught it. We had Aaron Rodgers coming back, putting them in field goal range with like 20 seconds left in the game. We've had just everything. Packers just having the upper hand in this rivalry in playoffs. But we have old Jordan Love at quarterback. So, can Dak Prescott take down the Packers at home? Like we talked about, Dallas Cowboys are 8-0 at home. So, they will be a scary team and a hard team to play. But this is playoffs. Dallas likes to be a little shaky. So, this could be a close one. But Dallas Cowboys in that number 2 spot, they will have a home field advantage to the division round, and then if the 49ers lose, they will have a home game all the way up into the Super Bowl. So they have a monster chance in front of them, and they have a great opportunity. But moving on, that is our playoff matchups. We have old Jared Goff, as we said, QB of the Rams from 2016 to 2020, and was traded for Matthew Stafford. So that will be a cool one to watch. Matthew Stafford, the QB for the Lions from 2009 to 2020, and was traded for Jared Goff. So they flip-flopped. Tyreek Hill was the wide receiver for the Chiefs. Now he is on the Miami Dolphins, and he will be taking on the Chiefs this weekend. And then we have old Mike McCarthy, the Dallas Cowboys head coach, used to be the Packers head coach. So we'll get to see some potential coaches and players that used to be on the other teams facing off against their old team. So that will be a fun one. We had multiple players hitting their bonuses, getting stuff done. We have Chris Jones secures $1.25 million after getting a sack. So we get to see his emotions right here. He just straight up runs off the field, and everyone knows it, and they all just start chasing him down. So cool stuff there. You got everyone supporting their boy. We had, as we talked about, Baker Mayfield getting his team to playoffs, securing $1 million bag. We had Puka Nacua breaking Jalen Waddle's rookie reception record I think, let's see, Waddle had 104, and now Puka Nacua breaking that. Let's see, he was 29. Let's check that out real quick. Let's check that out. Let's see here. I'm pretty sure he broke the record. Carson Wentz better have launched it to him. Otherwise, I would be pissed. So, we got receptions. Puka Nacua with 4 receptions. So, what did he need? He needed 4 receptions. Needs 4 receptions to break Jalen Waddle's record. So, he gets his 4 receptions with 41 yards. So, he needed 29 more reception yards to break Bill Groman's NFL rookie record for receiving yards. So, Puka Nacua with the reception record and the receiving yards record. So, shout out to old Puka. Who's going to get Rookie of the Year this year? Do we have Puka Nacua breaking the receiving records? Or do we have CJ Stroud turning the Houston Texans team completely around 180 and taking them to playoffs? I don't know. We'll see. But that was that. And then we had old Derrick Henry. We saw his monster game. But Derrick Henry saying a nice little thank you to the Tennessee Titans. He will be a free agent coming into the offseason. So he doesn't know if he will be coming back to play for the Tennessee Titans. He has done amazing things for them. But hey, we might see him in another uniform this next year. But emotional stuff there. And we also had Justin Fields giving his farewell. He doesn't know if the Chicago Bears are going to take that number 1 pick and draft another QB and trade him out, or if they're going to stay with him. So with the possibility up in the air, he gave his last little speech saying, "I gave it my all, the city of Chicago. Love y'all. Appreciate the fans and the support from all the Bears in case this is my last rodeo with y'all." So him ending the season, 7-9, doing decent. Him not being a very good passing quarterback, but being explosive on the ground, running the ball. But this could be Justin Fields' last rodeo. So we could see Derrick Henry and Justin Fields out of there. For the first time in NFL history, every team in a division has finished the season with a winning record. So, Bengals, the only team up here with a winning record that did not make playoffs, but Ravens, number 1 team in the AFC, Browns, number 5 team, and Steelers getting that last spot in the AFC at that 7th spot. So, what a crazy division right here, playing some incredible teams. You got Joe Flacco, you got Lamar Jackson, and Mason Rudolph. I'll be curious to see if they play old Kenny Pickett or Mason Rudolph coming into playoffs. But good stuff there. CJ Stroud leading the Houston Texans to their first playoff since 2019. But the previous 3 seasons having the worst record in the NFL, going 11-38 in 1 tie combined record. So awful last 3 seasons, but CJ Stroud turns that around and wins the division and gets a playoff spot. So they will have a home game going into playoffs. CJ Stroud could win them a playoff game as well. It's good stuff from old CJ. We'll see, as we said, with him and Puka, who wins the Rookie of the Year. Texas locker room, electric. You know they're hype. We've seen how emotional old CJ Stroud gets, but you know they love to see it. So, cool stuff from the old Houston Texans. I'm a Dallas Cowboys fan. I'm not a Houston Texans fan, but with old CJ Stroud on the Houston Texans, they kind of look pretty filthy. Kind of like them. But As we talked about at the end of that Saints game, taking on the Falcons, at the end of the game, instead of just kneeling it out, Saints run a play and score. Artie Smith was not happy about this at all and doesn't even shake the other coach's hand, and is just furious. So we'll kind of watch this on play. Him cussing him out. It's like, what the fuck was that? So Artie Smith not liking that interaction at all. And Saints head coach coming out and saying, hey, we didn't mean to do that. That was not the play call. They just ran it in. We want to apologize. Hey, we're not playing. We're not just trying to rack up as many points as we can. But Artie Smith just furious. But Artie Smith, the Falcons head coach, gets fired. So Falcons part ways with old Artie Smith, and he will not be the head coach coming up this next year. Artie Smith, we love seeing him. We got to see him on the old Pat McAfee show, and we got to see him with a nasty stash, with the most filthy stash. He had to shave it towards the end of the season, become a little more professional, but we love old Artie and his stash, and we wish him the best of luck. But that was not it for coach firings. Commanders part ways with Ron Rivera. So Ron Rivera out of there. Commanders fire their head coach. So now we're starting to see the end of the season. We're starting to see some changes. Starting to see people out of there. Same thing, Carolina. Carolina parts ways with old general manager Scott Terrier. So Carolina gives their old general manager the boot after a 2-15 season. Got Carolina just looking awful. But him out of there. We'll see how they do. They should get a high draft pick, and we should see them attempt to turn around their season coming up. But now, moving on, we are going to move into our college football segment. We have the national championship game tonight. The Michigan Wolverines taking on the Washington Huskies in NRG Stadium. This will be electric. The game will be at 6:30 p.m. on ESPN. Michigan, they were favored -4.5. Now they are favored -5.5. So I saw it last night at -5. Now it is -5.5. So betting odds saying Michigan is going to win this game. Washington Huskies, they are getting doubted. After that shaky comeback that Texas had at the end of that game, almost giving it up. Everybody's thinking Michigan Wolverines by 1 million. Over under in this game 55.5, and Michigan pretty substantial favorites in this one. According to ESPN Analytics, we got Michigan a 74.3% chance to win this game. And then, let's see. So, yeah, we will be inside. Both teams undefeated. Battle of the undefeated. Battle of the best teams. The only undefeated teams left in college football. This will be an explosive one. We got Heisman runner-up Michael Penix Jr. taking on J.J. McCarthy. J.J. McCarthy with only one loss in his entire career. We also looked at Michael Penix Jr. has a 1-0 record against Michigan, and that was when he played for Indiana. So we'll see if Michael Penix can go 2-0 against the Michigan Wolverines. But Michael Penix Jr. looking unstoppable on the offensive side when they played Texas. They have the big three receiving core with Rome Odunze. They got Polk and one other. We will see Dylan Johnson playing in this game, or at least trying to play. We saw him in a lot of pain at the end of that Texas game that actually gave Texas a chance to come back and win that game. So we'll get to see old Dylan Johnson. And then Blake Corum having a monster of a season 2, 25 touchdowns, 1,100 yards. So we'll get to see old Blake Corum. We'll get to see Rome Odunze. And then old Michigan receiver Roman Wilson. So we got Roman facing off against Rome. So we'll see a little wide receiver matchup right there. But this will be a monster game. Michigan's defense absolutely destroying the Alabama offensive line and getting to Jalen Milroe multiple times, stopping what they wanted to do. But Washington Huskies not allowing Texas to get through and get to old Michael Penix. So this will be a battle in the trenches. This will be a battle on the line. We will see if the old Washington Huskies can hold up and if they can continue slinging it against this Michigan Wolverines team. We had J.J. McCarthy come out and say, hey, 80% of teams are stealing signs. We just had to adapt and we had to do it too. So that means the old Michigan Wolverines has the Washington Huskies signs in this one. But does the Huskies have the Michigan signs? So you got to figure maybe that's going into the odds. Maybe it's because they got their signs. We'll see. But that's going to lead us into our Wagon of the Week segment. We are going to give our picks in this one. We already have some picks placed. But remember, guys, this is not financial advice. I am not giving you anything but my opinion, what I'm doing. So we have Michigan minus 5.5 on this one. I was able to secure Michigan minus 4.5. So I am taking Michigan on the spread. I think I saw an ESPN bet analytic that said most of the people were putting their money on Washington plus 4.5 when it was at plus 4.5. So I was like, hey, if everyone's putting their money on this, I'm going the opposite way. Michigan by 1 million. I'm taking Michigan minus 4.5 in this one. And then give me the over in this one. This is going to be a high-scoring, explosive game. Washington struggling on defense against Texas. And then Michael Penix Jr. just absolutely slinging it, just throwing darts, throwing perfect balls. This is going to be a high-scoring game. So, over in this one and minus 5.5 Michigan. And obviously, that would be Michigan money line. So, that is my Wagon of the Week pick for Monday. We will get to see them face off at 6:30 tonight. This will be an explosive game. But this will be a crazy ending. The two undefeateds taking each other on and ending the last ever 4-team college football playoff. So, who can win the last ever 4-team before we advance to 12 teams in the 2024-2025 season? This just means more. This will be Michigan's first and Washington's first ever national championship with the 4-team college football playoff. So, we will see a new winner in the college football playoff. It has been dominated by the Southeast, but we will see a new team. But, everybody, that is going to do it for us on this Bandwagon Monday show. Tomorrow, we are going to go over the winner of the national championship game, probably go over some basketball, and then we will probably have some news, maybe some new coach firings, maybe some new people moving around. We're going to see a lot. So tomorrow will be an amazing show. But thank you all for tuning in. Make sure to like and subscribe. Go ahead and follow these socials that you see down below. Follow Bandwagon Sports on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube. That would be much appreciated. You will see the memes that I post. You will get to see cool stuff here, cool, funny reels. I promise you'll get a laugh. Jags getting eliminated, Cowboys winning the NFC East, teams clinching, Will Howard committing. We got Warriors losing. We got old Squirtle dancing over here. So you'll get to see it all. So go ahead. Look, we got 10K views on this one. I'm giving y'all incredible content. So make sure y'all drop a follow. But that's going to do it for this one on our Bandwagon Monday show. I am your host, Cade Navarro, and we are signing out. Y'all have a blessed day. Have a great start to the week. And that is it for me.